what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to take you through the last week that we've done. And I'm hoping that by taking us through the last week, you'll be able to get caught up for what's really important. Of course, there's other assignments from higher, from earlier on that you might be missing, but ultimately the most important in terms of points is what we've done in the last week. And that is all surrounding the Obama speech. So the Obama speech is on page 69. And the first thing you were supposed to do is read it and then do questions 1 through 8 for page 72 and 73. So if you've done that, if you have an IEP, you only had to do evens. And if you don't, you have to do all of them. But the questions are going to be the first way that you're going to kind of get some understanding of the speech overall. This speech you can watch on YouTube by just typing in the title of the speech in YouTube, but it's also in your book. Once you've done those questions, you'll be a lot more familiar with the text that we're supposed to be working with, and you'll feel better able to do the pre-writing organizer. And the pre-writing organizer is what we did last class. Ms. Beltran took you guys through it, and ultimately we made screenshots of what we told you guys to do. So this is the blank chart that you are to fill out. Notice that there's all these different blanks, and each blank means that you need to do something. I'm going to go ahead and put a star next to the deliverables. You need to have something here, 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 and here. Now, how you get those things is on my Canvas. Let me get out of this. On my Canvas, you have the assignments. And in the same module where the assignments are, right, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of my page, homepage is always where the most current stuff is. And where the pre-writing organizer can be downloaded, there's also page 1 and page 2 of the pre-writing organizer help. And so you will read this if you're confused or absent, or both, right? If you're just like, I need help, this is where you're going to go to fill out that chart. And that chart is ultimately going to be the thing that starts you writing your essay. As you can see in the annotations, I put a star next to everything that's a deliverable. Let me see if it's green screen. It's unfortunately I can't make it any bigger than this because of all my windows, but as you can see, there's stars every time you have to do something, and I've done the first row for you. So you're gonna just have to go through, download the blank chart, print it out, and then fill it out according to the directions here. The first row I've done for you. Let's look at what I'm asking you to do. This is the counterclaim. The counterclaim is, what do most kids say that's the opposite of what Obama is saying? If Obama is saying that he believes that every person has something to offer, what would a counterclaim to that be? Maybe like, oh, some kids say they're not good at anything, so why try? So then that's the counterclaim to President Obama's claim. I have both of those filled out in this box, but as you see in this next box, it's blank. So you need to write your own counterclaim. I also want you to jot down the sentence starters that you can use for counterclaims in general, because this is how you'll start your rainbow paragraphs for the essay. So whereas here the counterclaim and claim are filled out and you just need to find quotes that support that claim, here you need to figure out what's the counterclaim to President Obama's claim. And President Obama's claim is that students decide the future of our country. So a counterclaim might be something like, well, some people think that their destiny is predetermined. President Obama believes that students decide the future of our country. So you're saying, what's the opposite of President Obama's claim? And that's what you're putting here. And then again, you're finding quotes to support his claim. If he says that students are the future of our country, where does he talk about that? Where does he say that students are the future? Maybe in paragraphs 8 to 12. So you're going to look in paragraphs 8 to 12 and find me 2 quotes that talk about President Obama saying that students are the future of our country, or students can make an impact. Now, remember, you're not looking for the exact word. It's not like you're looking for the word future, country, right? Rather, you're looking for where does he provide evidence to support that claim? Where does he talk about how we can make a difference? Where does he talk about how all the things we could do? We can cure AIDS or invent the next iPhone. He talks about all these things that we have as a potential, and that's what you're going to cite as your textual evidence. So I already gave you the quotes for this first row. This row is you just copying. This row, you need to make a counterclaim and find 2 quotes to support this claim. Then the next page, it's more of the same, right? You have a counterclaim, a claim, and textual evidence to support that claim. And here you already have a counterclaim. Kids have too many obstacles that get in the way of education. What's the claim? President Obama, what does he say about obstacles? What does he say about overcoming challenges? And you might find some good stuff about overcoming challenges in paragraphs 18 to 23. Don't forget that you want to cite all your quotes, and you can cite them with either the paragraph number or the page number. It's up to you. I don't care at this point. So every time there's a star, remember, that's something you have to do. It might be helpful to, after going over this, print out this chart, which is at the beginning of the module, and go through and put stars at each of these different points. So your brain is like, I have to do something here, 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 and here. I think it's 14 stars in total. So here you have to figure out a counterclaim. What are you making the counterclaim about? Well, President Obama believes that you make your own future. If President Obama believes you make your own future, what could someone say against that? You know, some people say that where they're born is where they'll always be. Or, well, some people think that the poverty of their family is an indicator of how they'll be in their future. President Obama believes that you make your own future, right? And so you're thinking of a counterclaim. Remember, in the previous one, you wrote down some sentence starters that you could use for the counterclaim. Those sentence starters were, well, some people, blah, 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 or although we often feel, blah, blah, blah. And then once, going back to the second page, once you have done the counterclaim, you already have your claim. You then need to find 2 paragraphs about whatever he's talking about being self-made, about making your own future and having motivation and, you know, creating your own destiny. And then in the last row, I have your counterclaim already here, but you got to figure out in terms of failure, what does Obama say about failure? And you might find some good information about that in paragraphs 28 to the end. Okay, so that is the chart that you're working on. And that chart then will serve as a great graphic organizer so that you can organize all your thoughts on Obama's essay, Obama's speech, so that you can write an essay. Because then what we did today was, and Ms. Beltran, if you know, if you're in her group normally, she did this all with everybody, and now you have to do it on your own, but you have, luckily, the answers to the speech are right here. I went through and uploaded how I highlighted the speech. So I went through and highlighted what's ethos, what's pathos, and what's logos. And so you can see how I color coded it here. And I went through and highlighted what's what. And if you see like 2 colors, it means I think it's both, like red and blue. And as you can see, red is pathos and blue is ethos. So what you have to do after you fill out the chart is that you need to pick what quotes are you going to use for your essay. Now you've, you know, broken down the whole speech. You really understand it because you did your questions 1 through 8, which if you have an IEP, it's questions just the evens. You did your chart, and now you have to figure out what 3 quotes do I feel really strongly about? What 3 quotes am I like, yeah, I can tell you why this is ethos. I can tell you why this is pathos. I can tell you why this is logos. And if you're thinking right now, I don't know what those are, you need to go and just look online. Of course, you can go back to my PowerPoint, you know, that's in the modules prior, but you might just be benefited by going to YouTube and searching Ethos Pathos logos and watching like 5 videos on Ethos Pathos logos, like search Ethos Pathos logos examples, maybe even Google how to find Ethos Pathos logos in a speech, or Google how to find rhetoric in a speech. So if you're lost, ultimately our lessons on this have ended, but you have the internet at your fingertips to continue exploring what those terms mean if they're something that you struggle with. You also have in this file, not only are they annotated, but sometimes I even tell you my notes. Like I even say like why it's this, why it's that. At the top of the file that you downloaded today, that's like essay prompt rhetoric, and you're gonna put what did you choose for ethos, pathos, logos, and then you are going to build your body paragraphs. Notice there's 3 body paragraphs, right? One for ethos, one for pathos, one for logos. And in the file from today that's titled Obama Rhetoric Essay Outline, and it's from today, the first, you are going to fill in and you're going to do 1 rainbow paragraph. Not 3, just 1, because that's all that's due by tomorrow night. And that is, you're going to, and of course, if you need to take longer, you know, maybe you'll lose a few points, but ultimately, you know, just get it done. Your red is going to have the counterclaim, right? In the chart, you made all these counterclaims. You can use those. And then it will have the appeal he's using, and then you state the claim. Now, all of this might not make sense, but what I provide, I mean, like, it might not make sense right away, straight off the bat. What I've done is I've given you a sample essay of this is what a student turned in last year, and they got an A, okay? And so I would read through that and look at, you know, what an A essay looks like. As you can see, it starts off by giving the counterclaim. Some kids say they shouldn't attempt to have a good education and be successful because they're too lazy and unable to do anything. That's the counterclaim. But President Obama, what appeal is he using? Logos, when he says that everyone has the ability to succeed and have a chance at a good career. And then like my red for, you know, pathos is, others might say that a majority of students have a variety of challenges that can discourage them from being prosperous, but President Obama, using pathos, tells his audience that everyone has an equal opportunity to be successful in the future if they work harder in the present. And so then, as you can see, in red, I've told you exactly what to put. That is the counterclaim, the appeal that he's using, and his claim. And all of that ends up looking like these. So if you want to use this, you know, to guide is fine. Just make sure you're not accidentally plagiarizing it. Then not only have I given you like step-by-steps for all the colors, but for purple, because a lot of people go, oh, I don't know what to write for purple. And remember, it's all surrounded in yellow. Yellow is the quote. Yellow is what everything's about. But in the purple, there's 3 different questions that you can answer. First, what is President Obama hoping that we're going to do after hearing this? What's important in this quote? Why does he want us to hear this? Second purple, what appeal is being used? Is it ethos? Is it pathos? Is it logos? And how do you know? Like, oh, it's logos, why? And if you say something like it's pathos because he makes us feel emotion, I'm going to write what emotion? Like, be specific, right? You might find it's helpful when you look up the definitions of ethos, pathos, and logos, the same words that the internet uses to describe and define those terms would be the words you want to use in your purple, right? Logos is all about logic, telling it like it is, facts, you know, scientific statements, reasonable statements, common sense. All of that would be what you talk about in your purple, right? This shows the use of logos because he's making an argument that's reasonable and based on common sense. This shows that he's using pathos because he's making us feel guilty and want to do better and be motivated to rise above our challenges. So you're actually going into the specifics of how do you know it's the appeal you said it was? You said in red, oh, he's using logos. Then you gave a quote in yellow that you said is using logos. Now tell me in purple, how is that logos? And not only how is it logos, but why is it an effective method of convincing students? How is this convincing them to do what they want to do? You know, this convinces us to do better in school because it makes us realize that kids with brain tumors have overcome obstacles. Therefore, we should feel blessed that we're healthy enough to attend school and should try better in the future, right? That could be your third purple, right? You're just saying why what he said was effective. So ultimately, what is due Friday? And if you need to take break to do it, the most you can lose is 30%. And if you have an IEP, you have an extra 2 days. But you need to have your quotes for ethos, pathos, and logos. And you can email me, right? My email is my last name with my first initial at luhsd.net. But you can say, hey, is this ethos? Is this pathos? Is this logos? And I can tell you if you're on the right track or not. And if you're not, then I can help you. And then once you've done that, pick one of them and write your first rainbow paragraph. And you'll do that using these prompts. And you'll also want to, double check that yours basically looks like this. And then by tomorrow night, ideally, but I mean, again, if you have to turn it in late, that's what happens. You'll just submit a single rainbow paragraph to Canvas for grading. If over break you feel like you have time, I encourage you to start writing the other 2 rainbow paragraphs. Ultimately, when we get back from break, you'll have a single class period to work, and the rest of it will have to be done outside of class. So if you can get ahead, great, get ahead. If not, the bare minimum is you have to have decided your 3 quotes and have written one of your rainbow paragraphs and submitted that to Canvas. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.